Hello, Central New York, and hello, hockey fans all across the internet, and welcome to the Central New York Hockey Report podcast. I'm your host, Scott Kinville, and we got a fun show lined up today because, normally we have players, we have coaches. Today, we are going to be talking referees. This is going to be a really awesome show. Before I bring our guests in, of course, I will bring my trusty sidekick over here who's getting ready to press all kinds of buttons, hopefully not the wrong ones.
No,
it's Dave the Save Warner.
Did that once already.
I know, right? You got that out of your system?
I know. It's good. We're good to go.
Feel better?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, let's bring our guests in. So like I said, we're talking referees today. We're doing some pinstripe talking, if you will. And I got two of the best of the biz in Central New York on with us today. We have got Cole Adams and we have got Mike Roberts. How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, not too bad. You're really, pumping our tires, saying we're the best in the biz already.
Hey, you know what? We don't have nothing but the best on this show. So I can't help but say that, right?
That's why I'm here, right?
That's why you don't have a camera on you either. That's
oh, geez.
But anyways, so a little bit of an age difference between you guys. I think it's about a 20-year gap, but there's a special relationship involved here because Mike is actually a mentor to Cole, and Cole is 15 years old and was recently recognized by USA Hockey out at a Buffalo Sabres game for being a young official and doing as good as he's doing. So, Cole, tell us a little bit about how that came about in your road to becoming a referee.
So ever since I was young, I've always wanted to be referee from being at the University games. As Mike can probably say, I was in the locker room a lot at intermissions. But so last year I started reffing. I probably did about 15 games, and I did my first game with Mike. And then a few weeks ago, I got a call from Rick Pratt, who's the supervisor officiating for Central New York, saying that I was selected to go to the Buffalo Sabres game and skate out with the officials and meet them before the game.
That is awesome. That really is. So, and you got to be right in the room with them too before the game, correct?
Yeah. So we got me and one other kid from Western New York got to go into the room beforehand and meet them and ask questions. And then we got to skate onto the ice with them for the anthems.
Very, very cool. And by the way, I should preface this by saying, what was it, about a week or so ago, we did read an article on centralnewyorkhockeyreport.com if you ever want to check it out, cheap shameless plug. And there's a video in that article that Cole is talking about because his dad, Kelly, was the one who told me about this. And I said, this is going to be a great article.
If we're going to do shameless plugs, he's in the Mohawk Valley Express tomorrow. That comes out tomorrow.
Really? That's right.
That's right.
The print
forgot
edition.
about that print edition.
The print edition. You're all over the place, man. I'll tell you that right now. But anyways, he shared a video with me, and I think you were maybe like 3 years old. Because at first I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Is that young? And he's like, no, I'm not kidding. And he sent the video. I'm like, it's true.
Yes. Yeah.
I said, this is so awesome. You know what was really cool about that video too, Cole? Is that it showed the old odd. The way it used to be with the blue runners on the bottom of the dasher boards. And before it was repainted, when it was the old like red, yellow, orange, blue. I don't think you could see the old guitar player silhouette in the background, but it was still pretty awesome.
It's just like it was in Slapshot way back in the day.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. When they were trying to listen to the anthem, I won't throw the expletive in. So, Mike, we mentioned you being a part of this story. So tell us, how do you join in on Cole's story?
I was actually the video that you're referencing. I actually paused it throughout the video to kind of zoom in and see if I was one of the guys on the ice skating around at the time. Just I thought that would have just put it over the top for me.
Wow, that would have been cosmic.
Yeah, right.
But cameras weren't as good back then as they are now, apparently. But no, it's like I said, Cole used to come in the locker room between games. I've done countless Utica games over the years, and Kelly, his father, would bring him in. And he would come, ask us questions about the game, tell us how one day he was going to become an official. All he ever wanted to do was become an official. And here he is today. And, like things in life change. And, ultimately Kelly and I ended up being coworkers. And one day, I think it was a couple of years ago now, he comes in, he's like, can I sign Cole up early? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, he doesn't turn 14 yet, and you got to be 14 to ref. And he wants to sign up. I'm like, I don't see a problem with it. So I put him in touch with the right people, and they're like, yeah, but he can sign up, but he can't do any games. And Kelly was just like, I've spent I've wasted $50 on worse. And then, so yeah, so we signed him up and got him all set. And, I keep on telling Kelly, like, I'm just gonna, let Cole do my test and all my stuff every year, because, he's way into the rules way more than I ever was at that age.
That's great. And I'm glad you mentioned that 14 is the minimum age for one to become a referee. So Cole, tell us about that process, especially being as young as you were. I think you said you had to do a seminar. For those who haven't read the article, by the way, or haven't seen the article, I'll just give it away now. That's it.
Yeah. So when I first became an official, I had to do the open book test that you have to do every year. And then I had to go to an in-person seminar in Syracuse with an on-ice portion. And then this year, for the second year, I still had to do the same open book test. I had to do some video modules, and then I also had to go to a seminar in Syracuse. But this time it didn't have the on-ice portion.
Oh, that's cool. It's almost like taking your driver's license test.
Sort of.
You'll find out. Trust me.
Yeah.
The fact that he doesn't know that yet.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I forgot he's a.
Yeah.
But the on-ice portion that you referenced, so was it like a game, or was it they had a couple skaters going around and basically you had to pick out what the infractions were, or how did that work?
So what was funny about that one, there was a lot of people, I think a lot more than there were in past seminars, they said before that one. So my parents were both there, and they said they'd never seen so many officials in one place at the same time. They said it was like an Elvis convention. But yeah, so they couldn't really do a lot of like the sides practice and stuff. So we worked a lot on like dropping pucks, puck handoffs, and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. That's cool. And we'll actually probably get into that a little bit later, because there are some interesting questions I do want to ask on that end.
I've even got a couple.
Yeah. See,
Yeah,
there we go.
see,
The
yeah.
questions are just bursting out of everybody now. But Mike, you start off as a young referee yourself.
Yeah, so I was 10 years old. So this was before they changed the rules and you had to be 14. So 10 years old was that was USA Hockey's age. And as soon as I was 10, my coach at the time, who used to be an official, Pierre Prevost, local hockey guy.
He's awesome.
He gave me a bunch of his old ref gear and, kind of got me interested in it. And so I, signed up similar to how Cole did. And, I lived growing up, a couple miles away from Whitestown Rink. And, my parents would drop me off in the morning. I'd go ref a whole bunch of games. They'd pick me up in the afternoon or at night. So I just, I enjoyed it as a kid. And then as I got older, I kind of stuck with it. I went away to school. When I was in school, everybody needs beer money when they're in college. So, ref and hockey was easy. I could work 2-3 days a week, make a few $100 and I'd be set. And then, after college, kind of life hits, you get a job. I kind of took a little bit of took a step back a little bit. But then I got right back into it, doing local high school, getting into college. And, ever since then, I've probably been doing college for, I don't know, 15 or so years, give or take. And I never stopped, so I've been reffing, I think, close to 32 years now in a row.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
That is impressive. And I'll tell you, the money you mentioned there, that's good money for being in college too.
It is. And, you could go out on a Friday night and then you're at the rink, at 7 a.m, hopping on the ice to sober up.
Yeah.
Don't plug your ears, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say,
Cole, don't listen to that part.
Let me mute him a minute.
Oh man! And Cole, you've been reffing for 2 years now. So, what levels? Just for anybody who's listening, what levels are you doing?
So I've done full ice mites, I've done half ice mites, and I've also done squirts and peewees.
Okay. All right. There you go. I mean, I'll tell you, trying to keep up with those young kids, those little kids sometimes can be really tough.
Yeah. You also have, when you get to the really young levels, you have to watch for them when they fall down
Yeah.
too. 'Cause I think I was reffing with Mike, and one of them took out my legs from behind.
He was too young to buy a beer after, though.
Yeah, right.
The unwritten rule of refereeing is if you fall on the ice, you got to buy everybody in your crew a beer.
Really? I did not know that.
Oh.
That adds a whole nother
Well,
layer to watch for in the game now.
No, Cole just couldn't have had a drink. He could still pay money to buy you guys.
Well, hey.
I wasn't going to do that for his first game.
Yeah, right. Welcome, kid. No, now I was picturing now as the little kids just skating around, falling down, and taking out the referees, be like an American Gladiators course or something.
Yeah. Well, welcome, kid. Your bar tab is $100.
Yeah, right. But you mentioned the recertification process. Now that's an annual process.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Cole.
Yeah. I think it's an annual thing. I think it gets a little less, I read, when you get older, but
yeah. So I can expand on that a little bit. So, usually August, September, ish, it opens up, you can register for the year. You have to sign up for a seminar. The level 1 officials, new officials, they want to get on the ice and kind of go over some of those basic mechanics. But then as you get older and as you become more comfortable, they offer Zoom sessions and things like that, where you don't have to go on the ice, but you still have to go through the educational modules online. And, your in-person seminar can be virtual, if you choose. So I think, this year I did my seminar. My seminar was out in Oregon, and it just worked out time-wise with the time difference, that it just worked better for my schedule. So
there you go.
Yeah. So it's all across, it's all on usahockey.com. You can go and you can see when the seminars are and things like that. And I think it opens up, sometime in the summer, midsummer, to register for the upcoming year.
Do a lot of people apply for that? I mean, is there a crowd, waiting lines, or is it short?
There's been peaks and valleys, I think. We've been trying to do, to recruit young and new officials, even, high school players who no longer are playing high school or maybe not playing in college and want to stay involved in the game. We've been seeing a lot of fathers and their children getting involved and then reffing games together, kind of doing it as a father-son thing or father-daughter thing. I've also been trying to, recruit women and girls as well. It's no secret that women's hockey has been exploding lately. Not
Absolutely.
Just here, but across the country. So,
Absolutely.
the whole goal is to try to grow it and, get everybody involved. If there's any interest there, step on the ice, give it a shot. You never know.
Yeah. And so one goes to usahockey.com if they want to sign up, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And Cole, your trip out to Buffalo, that was part of USA Hockey's Hockey Week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay. And so in the Monday portion, that was basically generated towards youth hockey and achievements in youth hockey, right?
Yeah. So when I was at the game, there was also youth hockey players who were lined up with the Sabres for the anthem, like just how me and the other kid were lined up with the officials.
Yeah, and I know I asked you this before, but I got to ask you again. Tell me, were you just a little bit nervous stepping out onto the ice, knowing there was like about 18,000 fans sitting in the stands?
Yeah, my legs were shaking a little bit. You look up and it's a lot bigger than the odd.
Just a little bit. That's awesome.
Yeah,
though.
about 6 times.
Yeah. But that was really cool because you had not only just your mom and your dad and your sister, but you had aunts, uncles. I think you said your grandparents were there too.
Yeah, and my brother was there too.
Awesome. That is so awesome. That really is. So let's talk about some of the rules. And is it a dramatic rule change each year, or is it kind of stay the same, maybe minor tweaks, or does that kind of go up and down as well?
I probably can't speak too much on this because I think they do the rules in like 5-year increments or something, and I've only been here for like one rule book.
Okay. Mike,
Yeah.
you got anything to add to that?
Yeah. So in USA Hockey, they do, it is, I think it was, 21 to 25 is the current yearbook. In terms of changes, there isn't really a lot of changes year to year. There might be like points of emphasis that are emphasized in the seminars to, emphasize different portions of the rule book or emphasize different rule changes that were implemented, on the rule change year. So yeah, there's not a lot of variation in the rules, outside of that, 21 to 25 rule book.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that because you if it was like an annual edition or like you said, so it's basically 4-year blocks.
Yeah.
No, Dave's already trying to add. Don't worry about it.
No,
So,
he said 21 to 25.
it's all good.
So
Don't worry about it.
depends on if it's the beginning of 21 to the end of 25. It's 5 years.
Okay.
It might be 5 years. I can
See?
Ding, ding, ding. He has calculator out. Don't worry about it. Oh boy. But no. So I mean, but obviously minimal rule changes from time to time. Then so let's start right off the hop. So you have a crew of 4 for like a college game, or if you have 2 or 3, whatever. So how does it get determined who's the referees for the game and who's the linesman?
So the assigners. So every, there's local assigners. So we have an assigner for the Utica Rome area. There's an assigner for the Syracuse area. There's an assigner for Albany, or, every area, has different assigners, and it's that assigner's job to kind of look, know who the newer officials are, know who the veteran officials are, and try to pair, new people with those that know what they're doing on the games, on the lower level games, and then your more competitive games or your high level games. Make sure that the people you put on it, if they're newer, make sure they're ready for it. Because the last thing you want to do is, give a new official a chance at a game like that and have them fall on their face, because they're not going to want to come back.
Right.
So, there's a lot of communication between the people that have been around for a while and the assigner, to kind of help bring those younger officials up through and kind of train them, mentor them, and kind of get them to a place where, they can continue to advance into those more challenging games.
Yeah, because you certainly don't want to put a rookie official in, say, like a championship game where everything's on the line and put that kind of pressure on him. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You see Cole nodding his head. Yeah, not me.
He'll get there. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, and it's no secret too. You see all the articles out there about coaches yelling at these new officials, about parents yelling at these new young officials. Like, it's the whole idea is the person who's been around for a little bit can help protect them a little bit, and kind of help manage those situations and kind of show them what they need to do if they're if they get put in that situation and they have to deal with it.
Right, absolutely. And on some levels there is replay. So Cole, you probably haven't experienced a replay call yet, but Mike, I'm sure you have. So it's, say, like the college level, how do they determine what goes to replay and what doesn't?
So there's different criteria. There's coaches challenge criteria, and then there's things that the referees can look at on their own. So if there's, for example, if there's a check from behind in the corner, and on the ice they have a 2-minute minor, but we get together, we talk about it as a crew and be like, hey, we got a 2-minute minor on the ice. If the other guy, or if there's a discrepancy in the officials, I got a major, I got a minor, they can go look at that and determine if it stays a minor or if it becomes a major or if it becomes a major game or DQ. In the same sense as if, a huge hit in the corner outside of play and, say I'm a linesman and I see it and it's, and I say that's definitely a major. I could go to the official at the next stoppage and say, hey, there was something in the corner that I saw that was, I think definitely a major. I think you should look at it. They can go in and look at that. But if there's no minor penalty on the ice and they go in and look at that, the only thing they can come back with is a major game, major DQ. So they can't come out of that video review with just a minor. And then on the coach's challenge side, to say I'm a linesman and I miss an offsides that leads to a goal. And the coach thinks that I missed an offsides and it led to a goal. They can challenge that and we can go in and review and see if it was actually an offsides that led to a goal or not. And then also around goaltender interference, the coach can challenge and say, hey, I think the goaltender was interfered with. I challenge this. I want you to go look at it.
Okay. So there's a little bit more than you would think there is then.
Yeah. Quite a bit.
How many challenges per game? Is there a limit or for the coach?
So for at the college level, there's an unlimited, but it's unlimited with the caveat of if I have, so I'm a coach of the team and I want to challenge goaltender interference. If I have a timeout and it's not goaltender interference, I lose my timeout. So if I already took my timeout and I want to challenge goaltender interference, if I challenge goaltender interference and I'm right, okay, all right, goalie comes off the boards. If I challenge goaltender interference and I'm wrong, I'm charged with a penalty.
Okay. Yeah. Just so basically just like the NHL then.
Yeah. And then you can do that for as many times as you want.
Right. Which makes sense because if you don't have some kind of control over it, then, you're going to have challenges left and right and the game's going to have taken 4 or 5 hours on occasion.
Yeah. And I've been part of games where there's been 5 challenges and I've been part of games that there's been none. I've been part of games for weeks where there's been none. So, it depends on the situation. It depends on what the coach wants to do.
Yeah,
and what
absolutely. So we were talking a little bit earlier, and Cole, you got to explain this for us about puck handoff in the faceoff. So what exactly? Because I sort of accidentally cut you off of that. So what exactly were you referring to with the puck handoffs, and what do you want to say about the faceoffs?
So at the thing, they would basically teach you, like, when you're doing an icing, you need to hand the puck off to your partner for the face-off, just the technique for doing that.
Oh, there's a special way for doing that? I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, you're supposed to go hand to the side and then pass it off.
Oh, okay. All right. That's cool. And so let me ask you this too with face-offs, because I know, like, you see, like, at AHL games a lot. People just, drop the puck. Do you guys know what the criteria they're looking for as far as what they want before they'll drop the puck? And is it the same from that level down?
I'll let Cole.
Basically just making sure no one's in the circle and then there's nothing else going on the bench in terms of changes.
Okay, so basically no illegal substitution.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because like I said, you see that sometimes too. I mean, and it looks like, okay, they're ready to go, but then the puck's not getting dropped, and then they do, so I don't know. I was so curious about that because you see it oftentimes at the AHL level. So that's cool. All right.
Yeah, I'd say it's mainly just making sure everyone's outside the circle and the centers are squared up. Like I had a game this past weekend, and none of the players seemed to know what the hash marks were on the outside of the circles. So that led to a lot of long face-offs in that one.
Well, they knew. They just wanted to see if they could pull one over on you. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then the other part of that too is the visiting team is supposed to put their stick down first, unless they're in the offensive zone. So a lot of times you're waiting on that, or there's a warning or something going on because they're trying to cheat that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, and I think actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was the 2021, the most recent rule book that came out that really started to crack down on that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Okay, so let's see here. So, and Cole, with you being a bit inexperienced, you may not have too much experience in this end. But Mike, of course, you've been around, so I'm gonna get you with this one. So, you have a difficult call, and say like a coach challenge isn't available. How do you as a group handle all that? Because there could be some different opinions, and obviously the referee has the final say.
Here it comes. He's smiling.
I'm just waiting to see if Cole's going to say anything.
I've had a few close calls. Most of them, it's just been judgment on the ice, because there is no replay when you get to youth levels.
Right.
So it is kind of tough, but you just kind of have to go with your gut on some of those. And sometimes, and most of the time, you just end up angering half the crowd who thought their side was right.
And basically, you just kind of got to deal with it.
Yeah. Every time there's a close call, the ring's going to be split 50-50 on what everyone thought the call was.
Right. No way.
Yeah, you're never going to make both benches happy. It's part of it, and it's just explaining. You explain what you saw and your interpretation of it. When you go in and try to make something up or try to make up a rule, that's when you get yourself in trouble. If you missed it, you go up to the coach and say, I missed it. I'm sorry. That's going to go a lot further than, trying to make something up that's, completely fabricated. And then you just deal with it. Sometimes coaches they got to get mad and get it off their chest and they move on, and that's part of it.
That's a really good point too, because I mean, obviously, and it's not just hockey. In any sport, you have controversial calls and things that do get missed, like you said. I mean, it's happened recently. It's happened, but again, it happens in all sports. And I think that's probably the best way to go about it, because I'm sure that there could be an instinct maybe to say, oh, I better come up with the perfect answer. But like you said, Mike, sometimes honesty is just the best policy.
Yeah. I was doing a junior game, I think earlier this year, and, the junior game, sometimes they do 1 and 2 where it's, one referee and 2 linesmen. So it's one set of eyes trying to call penalties. And there was a big hit at center ice, and the coach was like, that was right to the head. That was right to the head. I'm like, and I go to him, I'm like, I didn't see it. He's like, I know. And I'm like, I'm sorry, it was away from the play. There was a play at the net and it happened. It was, it probably should have been called. But like I said, I'm not going to just put my arm up because 2 people collided,
right.
And 2 people are on the ice, so.
And that's the truth too. I mean, if you didn't see it, you didn't see it. I mean, we're human, and right. These kind of things are going to happen.
Right. And then what you got to watch out for is like, all right, I missed that one. Are they going to try to get revenge? Like, do I got to keep my head on a swivel here?
Right. So I'll ask you, Mike, have you ever been chased out of a building?
No, surprisingly.
Surprisingly. You got something to live for, Mike.
Yeah, Yeah. Don't tell him that's gonna be on his bucket list. Come on,
That's funny.
List, right?
Oh, jeez.
So I mean, I just because like I said, it's really interesting to get referees' perspectives of different things. So let's just say like goaltender interference. Now that's a very subjective call that people can get really riled up about that. So what are your takes on that? There's many different interpretations on it. I've always kind of felt that I don't have a problem with an opposing player being in the crease so long as it doesn't affect how the play happens. But there are some that say, well, no, if he was in the crease, he was in the crease, and that's it.
Yeah, so there's, like you said, there's different perspectives there. If somebody's moving through the crease instantaneously, in and out, zero effect on it, that shouldn't be goaltender interference, or it shouldn't be called for in the crease. If somebody goes in the crease, plants themselves, puts themselves right where the goaltender is trying to, if they're setting up shop and trying to screen in the crease in front of them, that's a different story. What you want to do there is when that happens, you want to blow the whistle and take it outside before, there's a shot on net and it's in the back and now you're calling it back and you got to go explain yourselves. So, when stuff like that's happening, it's communication with the players. Like, get out, I'm going to blow the whistle, watch your feet. And if they don't move, you blow the whistle and get them out of there, and then, it's tough, and if you have to make that call where you got to wave something off and there's no review, you got to be sure. You can't sit there and think for a minute and then all of a sudden either point a goal or wave your arms. As soon as it happens, you got to make a decision, split second, and you got to be sure of what you're doing. If you look like you're guessing or you look like you're thinking about what you're supposed to do, that's when, either coach is going to eat you alive.
Absolutely. And that's such a great point too, because you're right. Then you start planting the seed of doubt and then all this. Yeah. And then you got chaos. Absolutely. So I want to ask you guys, is there an evaluation process and how often does it take place?
So you're constantly evaluating yourself and, people on the ice. So I'm the local Utica Rome supervisor. So I try to get to the rinks, I have live bar and I try to throw things on and try to watch people. I'm not, if there's 100 games a weekend, I'm not watching 100 hockey games. But I try to, if there's somebody new on a game or somebody who just moved to the area, who's, been reffing for 10 years, try to tune in or try to stop down and see what they can do. But a lot of it is, like, say, Cole, I'm a new official and I want to get better. It's, asking people, hey, can you, what do you see? Can I do anything better? Want me to change anything? Should I change anything? It's talking to your partners, talking to people that have been around for a while. There's a lot of people in the area that have been reffing for longer than I have. And then as you move up and do, if you move into high school or move into college or any of the other leagues, there's supervisors and they're watching and they come out to games and they'll supervise you. And then especially towards the end of the year right now, at all the playoff games and all that, there's a, a representative, an official representative or supervisor who's there watching the game, to try to, to basically watch to see how you're doing, to say, all right, they did a good job. They can, they should be considered to move forward, or, they sucked. They're done.
Darn.
Yeah.
No gray ground.
You're only as good as your last game, right? So, if you screw something up, it's, you got to redeem yourself. Yeah.
There's a lot of truth to that. I mean, it's no different than players on the ice, right? I mean, it's refereeing's all the same.
Yeah, it's, it's always, we always talk about it. It's the third team on the ice. And especially this time of year, we're competing against each other the same way that the teams are competing against each other. Because if there's 300 college officials, when it comes, say in the Northeast alone, there's by the time you get to this point of the year, there's maybe 12 guys working or 12 people working. So, that gets whittled down quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you end up with the best of the best going at the end of the year.
That's the hope anyways.
Right.
I have a question for Cole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Cole, did you grow up playing hockey before you wanted to ref? Were you a player?
Yeah, I played up through last year at Clinton.
Okay. All right. What is the difference between skating as a player and skating as a ref? How is that different?
I'd say one of the main differences is when you're a ref, you're trying not to be in people's way.
That's a good answer.
I feel like I've gotten better at that since my first game. I feel like in my first game, I was in front of it. It was in someone's way like every 5 minutes or something.
It's funny watching former players when they first get out there. They don't know what to do with their hands. They're used to having a stick.
That's true, though.
Yeah.
I mean, because that actually, changes your skating
changes
pattern.
your
Yeah,
balance. That's
it
what I was
does.
getting towards, is balance and how you skate, and
Mhm.
maybe more skating backwards than forwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, who was always getting blown by, there's always that instinct to pull them down, too. So I don't know.
But everybody blows by you.
That's what I was saying. I mean,
yeah.
I was so used to that. I mean,
Yeah.
that was. Is there anything you guys would like to say to anybody who wants to become a referee? Any kind of advice?
Don't do it. They're both thinking, I can't say that.
I was waiting to let Cole go first.
I'd say just give it a try. I've had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, to me, it's like Cole says, give it a try. It's a great way to stay involved in the game. It's a great way to, I was never, good enough to play in college or whatever, but now I'm on the ice with NHL draft picks and stuff like that. Like it's amazing to be a part of and see the talent that that comes through Central New York.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't, sometimes I don't think people realize just how much talent is not only here, but has come through this region.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. All right. Well, guys, I appreciate you taking the time to come on and talk to us. This has been a lot of fun. And like I said, I love to get it from the referees' perspectives. It's always a fun time.
Well, thanks for having us. Like I said, this is my first time ever on a podcast. It's exciting.
Well, there you go. See?
Yeah, I think it's my first time too.
Well, see, I'm just now what you guys got to do is you got to start your own podcast. Now you got to practice. See? So.
Right.
All right. Well, guys, again, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And we thank you, the listener, for listening and watching. And we will see you next time on the Central New York Hockey Report podcast.